Welcome to Unscripted Show 2. Just like to thank Chaz Everett, Shirley Ann, Christine Todd, Steph and Rob Green from Real Promotions, Grant Joubert from Pen Farm, featuring Salt Tabs, and Cherry Westrand. We're featuring today Ziad Desai, the founder and CEO of LPL. Welcome, Z.
Thank you, Pora. Always lovely to be here to chat cricket with you. Unscripted and you could be very dangerous, but looking forward to it.
I don't know, I might be nice with you today. I don't know. I'm just trying to think, because you always put me under the spot in the game, so I might put you on the spot today. Eh?
Might be the first time you're nice to me ever. So.
I don't know. We'll talk about that a bit later. We'll see. So, Z, run us through the LPL. How did it start? When did you start it? With who? And
yeah, Renato, well, you'd know the LPL started about 14 years ago in Johannesburg. It was always about wanting to find out that club cricket was still strong at that time. There were still some very good players around and players who felt that they should have gone a bit further. Myself being one of them, and we wanted to find out if you're the best, you want to play against the best. And the only way to do that is to have a competition which has all of these best players coming together. There was a lot of tension around at the time where certain club players never got along with each other, the two of us included in that mix.
Sometimes.
And then what I did is I picked up the phone and, well, before I did that, 14 years ago, I was still playing provincial cricket at Gauteng Cricket at the time. Alan Curry was the CEO. I walked into his office, and Alan's an intimidating man, as we know at the best of times. I showed him what was a 4-page document. I told him, this is what I believe is the future of cricket. He looked at me and he said, this will be the best thing to ever happen to the game. He says, you have my blessings, go ahead and make it happen. I walked out of the office. Alan gave me his support. I didn't know at the time, but he then phoned Clive Eckstein and told Clive, do you know Ziad? We played a bit together, and Clive said yes. He said, please do me a favor, meet him for a cup of coffee. We met for a cup of coffee. Clive didn't know why, I didn't know why, and Alan said, Clive, whatever Ziad needs, just make sure you're there for him. And 14 years later, we speak every single day. We've now developed the LPL into what it is. It's got 8 franchises in Johannesburg. You've got 8 in Cape Town, 4 in Boland, 4 in the Free State, 4 in Potch. Australia's got 10 in Adelaide, 10 in Brisbane, and 8 in Adelaide as well. So it's grown quite nicely along those lines. And you've got junior and senior structures. So you go from under 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, 17, 19 in seniors. It's cricket without politics. It's cricket that just, if you're good enough, you play. If you're not good enough, you work at your game and try and get in. That's the bottom line of the LPL, and that's what it's about. And the strange story is that all those years ago, the first people I ever phoned were people I never got along with on a cricket field.
So I was the first one.
You were the second, actually.
Who was the first one?
Fossey was the first
Sure,
one,
okay.
to be fair. So you were second, Fossey was first.
Shucks.
And everyone came together. And if you remember that time, it was an awesome tournament. The standard was brilliant, and the standard has grown from then. And the franchises have grown, and so has the structures down below. It's about cricket, will always be about cricket. That's first and foremost, and everything else then follows.
Yeah, it is. It's a proper tournament. I think it's one of the best tournaments in the world, to be honest. From junior structure all the way to semi-pro level and pro. We got a lot of pro players.
Yeah, we're proud about that. That's something we work hard on, the quality of the game. And if you look at your Devils side that won the senior competition, that side could take on any team in the country. They're strong enough. And likewise, we got the Dragons along in Cape Town, an exceptionally strong side. And that's what you want, you know.
So when are we going to have that game?
So we're waiting for the dates, waiting for the players' availability, because you want your best of the best playing against each other there. And that will happen. That will be the Champions League between those two sides. We'll play in a best of 3. As it was scripted, it should be in Johannesburg, and we're looking at just before the start of the next LPL for that.
Yeah, I think that will be the best time, because a lot of our players are overseas, playing in England and other places, yeah. So one thing I need to ask, our first team that we played for, the Cats, tell the viewers out there, how did we structure? We actually won. Tell them out there, how did we play our first game?
Yeah, so the Cats came in year 2 of the LPL. It was a full-on new auction in the second year, because the tournament started to gain momentum. Uncle Nish was the coach, and said, fine, he'll put a side together. Strangely enough, we ended up having, and I don't know what's the language limit on this, but we had 7 complete dwellers in one side. I don't think there's any other way of
Boxes, yeah.
of explaining that. But 7 guys in one side who never got along on the cricket field. We lost our first 2 games, if I remember correctly.
First game only.
Yeah.
Quentin de Kock hit us all over the place.
That's right, and we had some characters. It was yourself. I was in there. We had Jerry De Bruyne was in the mix as well. Corsi was in that side.
James
Barucci was there. It was a solid cricket side.
was a proper side.
We even had Wes Lansdale in the mix there. We had an excellent tournament, and then
Vaughan
Vaughan van Jaarsveld. Yeah, so. What we did find out very quickly in those early games, and Uncle Nish then called a round table after we lost a couple of games, and we all spoke truth. I remember you telling, I think it was Kwesi at the time, you said something to him and said, listen guys, we all got to pull our finger here and start to play cricket.
Correct.
And we realized that we're all talented individuals, we all love the game, but on the field we played extremely hard. And that was the makings of what you see today. That was the makings of getting the tournament to where it was. We went on to win it. It was excellent. It was just the way it was meant to be.
Yeah, and myself and Carl, the poster boys of the bowling and the opening bowlers there. I was Daddy Cool. What did we call him?
Mr. LPL.
Mr. LPL. That was the first poster boy, eh?
Yes, he was.
The recent one now is probably Ferreira and Hero, eh?
Correct. Boris deserves a mention in that as well. As time went on, you were the one that identified Boris. Let's not forget, he came in
under my ranks. Yeah.
Everyone said he was a fielder, but geez, he turned out to be one of the best batsmen in the LPL history.
Proper player.
Yeah, he should have achieved a lot more. I think he was slightly ahead of his time in terms of the way the game is played, but an exceptional cricketer.
Yeah, he should have played first-class cricket at least. But he played what? He only played junior level, eh?
He played. He's got a first-class 100, which is great, and what a talented player.
Yeah. Tell the viewers out there how many South African players that have played in the LPL and even other countries, I think.
Yeah, so
that you can remember. That's played in this tournament.
We've probably gone above 45 international players that play in the competitions. Vaughan van Jaarsveld, Friedel de Wet was around, Dwayne Pretorius, Quinton de Kock, Imran Tahir, Dane Pitt, Zubair Hamza, Abdullah played as well. There's so many Hardus Viljoen played. There's so many that to mention just a few would be unfair. The level, Keshav Maharaj is another one, played for the Tigers, and yeah, they lost in the final. But yeah, those are the type of players and the caliber of what we were producing. And the beauty, and I think why they all embraced it in that regard, is because you could come here and you never knew what the result of the game was going to be. There was unpredictability about it. Because you're playing against hard seasoned cricketers, guys who know what they're about and can challenge you on any given day, it made the competition what it is.
And I think as well, you invented the 100. Basically, we played under 17 tournament, 15 tournaments, basically the 100.
Yeah, it's a 96 ball competition, if you want to call it. And the way that is structured is you want to recreate pressure. I think South Africa over the years have found themselves falling short in major competitions. And I don't believe we play enough cricket. Strangely, as people say, there's too much cricket. I don't believe so. I mean, if you look at an NBA season, they probably play 80 games a year. Likewise, in some of the baseball scenarios. And cricketers are a little bit spoiled. They don't play enough. Yes, if you're a professional cricketer and you're playing week in, week out, that's great. But what about the guy who only plays on the weekend? What about him getting a game rained out because someone didn't pull the covers on? So I believe the more we play, the better we can become. I also believe that at junior levels, if you can recreate the pressure scenarios, if you can get a bowler who might look fantastic in the nets, can he bowl that over where you've got to go for 10? Can he bowl it under pressure? Can he deliver the skills that he has at that moment? Can you get a batsman who needs 15 to win of 6? Can he change the game around executing his skills? And more often than not, we found that some guys are found short, but then you get the gems that start to come through, and you realize those guys have the talent and the big match temperament to take their game to the next level. And sometimes the guys who get overlooked at the higher structures, and they need the opportunity. They need to showcase it because that's the breeding ground. And you've seen it. When the big game comes, which are the players that can step up? And there are not many of them.
There's not many of them, but there are some that nobody know about.
Yes.
But we as a board or whatever conglomerate show their skills.
Yeah, and look at it, Renato. You say you can look at a guy at the nets and you look $1 million. Can you deliver it on the field? Can you score the runs when needed? Can you take the wickets when needed? Can you take the catch when under pressure and there's a crowd on the boundary and everything's starting to happen? And yeah, I suppose one of the stories that we should talk about is Tanaka. I don't know if you remember Tanaka Shivanga.
He's played for the
Zim,
Cats.
I remember him at under 16 in that level, playing with Uncle Nish, unsure about his run-up, unsure about his skills, not knowing what he could do. And today he's gone on to play international cricket and he looks a gem of a bowler.
I never knew he was involved since that age.
Yeah.
I thought only recently. Oh, that's good for the LPL.
Yeah, listen, there's some high quality cricketers. And that's what we pride ourselves on. Not everyone's going to get in, but the best of the best will play in our competitions.
And I think this competition, we have got the best of the best. Sometimes there's other aspects that draw us back, but that's life, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the way it's got to go.
We still got to fight, huh? We've got to fight for what we believe in.
Yeah, and you're one of those. You
You know
always, you got to say what you believe in. You
Yeah.
got to say it in front of everyone. I think that's important, so that there's always truth. And you also then got to believe it yourself. And at the end of the day, if cricket is front and center, everything else will then fall into place.
Correct. I think there's a lot of hidden agendas and a lot of people that are putting cotton wool. I'll say it as it is. There's a lot of those people, and I think it's time that we expose that. And we have, I think, for the last 2 years.
Renato, cricket needs to be played on the field. The minute you cross
Correct.
that white line, everyone's equal, and then we see what you're about.
Correct. Okay, another question I want to ask. You got rid of all the owners, especially up here in Joburg. Why did you decide to do that? And you've gone through the director route.
Yeah, so we went in Johannesburg with the director route for a simple reason. We believe there were a lot of individuals, yourself, Gareth Flask, Dean Lang, you then got Rudy Erasmus along the way as well, Johan Fourie, Jody Martins, all very, very good individuals, all have great cricketing knowledge, all are able to take cricket to the next level. Now, how do we create that platform which allows them to do it? What allows them to take the game forward? What allows them to take their franchise forward?
Yeah.
And again, you want to remove politics from the game.
Okay, that's the biggest thing in South Africa, politics. Are you going to go the same route in the CPL?
Well, Monty, we got the CPL's got the advantage that it started many years later than the LPL, so it's learned the lessons from the LPL. And the CPL does well. We've got a number of good owners there who really carry it, and they form in a way like what the directors do here in Johannesburg. They manage to carry that out and execute those skills across at the CPL as well.
Oh, that's awesome. Name a couple of them. Some of the big boys.
Christos Yatsis has done really well with his Outlaws franchise. You got JP Dumini, who's the owner there, and ably assisted by Jermaine Kluter. The Dragons need a mention. Saeed Bray, Shukri Conrad's involved with that, and
Siraj, Isn't
yeah,
Siraj also?
Bola is there as
Oof,
well. So
my
imagine
vast enemy, that
you
one.
and him against each
Sure.
other in the Champions League will certainly be something to
We
watch.
never saw eye to eye, me and him, did we?
And yeah, he's just as competitive as you
As
are.
me,
But
yep.
they've won the senior competition 2 years in a row, back-to-back
That's good.
titles. So obviously they know what they're doing. They are our champions in the CPL, and looking forward to them going up against the Devils.
And that's going to be a good game, that. Is Phil Anders still involved?
Philander's around, but more we've got Henry Dednam, who's come into the mix there to look after the Pirates, and a very professional setup on that side.
And what's my mate's name? Shucks, what's his name? The tall one from the played Northwest?
From Northwest, so you got to remind
Molian,
me.
Eugene.
Oh,
He's still
Eugene's
involved.
around. Eugene works with the NPL as a whole.
Oh, okay,
Does
awesome.
a few commentary stints, and as you'd have
Is it?
known for the viewers out there, when you're watching the games and
Lovely guy.
and a 6 is hit, it's always it's a huge maximum, and that's always Eugene.
Because he's a big boy.
He's introduced that, and it's stuck around the country.
Okay, and then any new commentators coming in the fold this year?
We're working, Renato, an announcement that will be made within the next couple of days. We up in the production level of the LPL and CPLs and the NPL competitions. The finals will be covered with 5 cameras. Certain games per day will be covered with 3 cameras a day, and others will be covered with 2. So the production levels are going up a step. The quality of cameras is something that we've worked hard on to improve.
Awesome.
The commentary aspect will be something that comes into play, and we want to open that up to maybe some of the viewers out there who want to be commentators, or even some of the directors or coaching staff would like to get into the commentary box and provide the insights. I mean, as you say, we talk truths. We don't want to talk just the nice, glorious stuff about it. We want to get into the
Truth.
nitty-gritty. We want to discuss what's the hard aspects of the game and where people are struggling, where people are actually doing well, and highlight those players that are doing well.
I think we should try get these 2 guys to commentate. I think these guys sent us a clip. They're the first guys to put in their CVs. Just let's have a listen here, please.
Hello everyone and welcome to Newlands on what is a wonderful summer's day. The glorious smell of hops from the brewery hanging heavily in the air like a potent Franz Malherbe fart in the morning after a win over the All Blacks. You join us in the 3rd over with South Africa leading 5 runs to 0. All of those runs courtesy of Reza Hendricks, great-grandson of the legendary Peter Hendricks, who, just like his granddad, showed some very fancy footwork earlier, sidestepping England captain Jeff Root to dot down behind the boundary rope at the Weinberg end, putting the Proteas ahead with the conversion to come. Conversion?
Jesus, what game are we playing here, Blades?
In commentary alongside me is Joel Stransky. Joel, this must bring back a lot of memories.
Not really, Hugh. It's cricket, but a solid start from the Proteas here. We're used to them being at least 3 or 4 down by this point. And Hendricks and Markram looking very, very confident, aren't they?
More confident than Yuri Roo at the last Saru Christmas party, but we know how that worked out for him.
Anderson now charges into Markram.
He's got electric pace, does Anderson. So electric. I hear Eskom are trying to find a way to plug him into the grid. He bowls and is absolutely smashed by Markram. It's good. It's good. It's over the railway stand and into the brewery next door. Now that's what I call a stage 6 conversion.
Wow. Oh, that was quite something, wasn't it, Blades?
Indeed it was, Joel. I know smashed when I see it. Brilliant work by Markram, and he'll certainly have caught the eye of the box selectors with that hook. Move over, Eben Etzebeth. South Africa ahead, 11 points to 0. Unbelievable.
Yeah,
Sure.
definitely.
Those
Just
two,
check if they're available.
Yes, how good are those two?
First game's on the 5th of May, so yeah, always a spot for them.
So you Bladen and Joel Stransky there talking cricket, eh? Very good, eh?
That's the way we need it.
You see, that's a proper commentator. Okay, put you on the spot here a little bit. Top 10 players that's played in the IPL, excluding first-class cricketers and South African cricketers.
I think it'll be unfair. You gotta base them on their performance in the competition.
Yep.
I think in the top 10, Brian Barnard would definitely be there. He'd be ranking up with the very best. Grant Mokoena certainly had some memorable moments in the competition as the years had gone by. So I think he'd be in the mix. Alpesh Patel, we can't forget. No international player could read him. No provincial player could read him. And he would definitely be up there with his mystery spin. Then you go a little bit more forward. Where's Lansdale? He'd come into the mix. Thor van Wyk of the Cats, one exceptional season.
Genre.
Yes, one exceptional season that he had there. The Cats led them to the title. He'd be in there as well. So that will be the first few that come to the top of my mind. I think Jean Lemaita, I'd put him in the mix as well, simply because of his knowledge of the game, his ability to bowl under pressure and lead what at times might have been an average side to compete for a title. I think he'd certainly be up there with in my top 10.
Not for batting.
No, but his bowling was high class, and
was good, yeah.
and he's got to be in the mix there. Those are the first few that would definitely come to mind that were challenging. Who would you have in the mix there?
Sure. My ones, I'd go Vaughan van Jaarsveld, definitely.
Yeah.
Change the game. Murray's, of course. I'd go, sure. Basically the same as yours. Donovan Ferrer is pretty good. I'll go more of the first class setup.
Yeah.
Connor, Braden,
but he's still got time in the game. So we'd like to see where his game goes to from here.
Heinrich Pedersen.
Still
proper
time,
player,
and
proper
again, you'd
player.
want to see what they do over the next couple of years. I think that's going to be the key element. The guys that I've mentioned, they've all won titles.
Yeah.
They've all been there. They've done it over a number of years, and that's why they would have been my first choices. And
I
the
like
other
that
guys,
Mouton boy. That
he's got
plays
something
for-
about him.
There's
Yeah.
not a bad bowler, that boy. Tell me about that guy in Cape Town, that quick bowler, Whitehead, what's that?
Yeah, from the
he's
Dragons.
Proper good.
Yeah, he's very good. He's very good. The Dragons' bowling lineup is exceptional. They got some good seamers. Ali Akbar Sheikh is one of them as well. Whitehead leads them, and then they got some very good spinners that come into the mix. So that would be the challenge: the Dragons' bowling versus the Devils' batting.
But I think we also got a pretty strong bowling lineup, if you have a look
Listen,
at it.
the other player that we got to put into that
Seb.
conversation would be Dani Rousseau. I
Yeah, he's
think
a very good
he'd
player.
certainly come into the conversation there, and he's been
Very.
consistent for the Knights over time.
Yeah, even Maddie Arnold hasn't played too badly.
Yeah, listen, we're going to pick a top 10. We're going to
Sure,
have to sit
it's a
down with
difficult
numbers.
one.
I don't think the show's long enough to go
Yeah,
through
but
all of those.
It's good. It's good for the viewers out there to see up and coming players. Who do you think were the best that comes out of the junior ranks? So you said Chavanga, what? TK, it's one.
Yeah. Look, I think as a young player who I would like to see go on and play international cricket as time goes on and follow in the footsteps of Conway. Devon Conway played for Superman,
He
for
played, yeah.
those who don't remember.
Vincent de Kock also played.
Yes, and now Devon's playing for Chennai and certainly doing some wonderful things over there. But I'd like to see where Shaper goes. He's someone who I think's got the mindset for the game, and he's got the ability to be that consistent. Could become one of the best players that we've seen in a long time.
I think in the next year he'll play for Yorkshire. Definitely. There's definitely in the mix there.
Yeah, so he'd be one on my radar. There's a young kid for the Celestial Knights. I think he'd be now in the under 15 section. Sohail. So let's see where he goes. He's got something like 3,300 so far in his young career.
Yeah, I coached him for 2 years.
Yeah, so he'd be one that we'd like to see where it goes. Sange, who reminds us of a baby
Little
Rabada,
bowler.
also a young one, and time will tell where their careers go to from here.
Liam, Aldo.
He's a brilliant cricketer, isn't he? He's got the heart, he's got the fight. I believe he's now got a professional contract, which
Warriors,
is
yeah.
long overdue. He should have been someone who played an entire season of first-class cricket this year at the highest level, no questions asked. He's that good.
Unfortunately, he had to play against Bjorn, so same player.
Yeah, given. But Liam is an exceptional
No,
cricketer.
he's a very good cricketer.
And I think he's got all the ingredients to go all the way. And he's someone where if you have a go at him, he comes back harder. And I've seen him do this a number of times. Bowling is his key strength.
Yeah.
But when the team's under pressure with a bat, he delivers. And very, very seldom does Liam not deliver with bat or ball. Under
smash
pressure.
it.
That's the difference. And in that final where you guys played the Knights, Liam taking that winning wicket in that celebration, we see that picture. It's one of the iconic pictures. That celebration shows how much it means to him. He's a man who gives absolutely everything.
Yeah, he's a great little player that way. Another question. South African cricket, our LPL, versus the Australian one.
Now we
Major difference?
Yeah, we ahead simply because of time. Their infrastructure is very good.
Yeah.
Their basis of what they have is exceptionally good. And the people we got on board there are equally as good as those that we've got on board here, but have the ability to make things happen a little bit quicker. Again, taking all the lessons that we've learned from in South Africa, they're taking it across in there. But the level of what we produce is higher than that.
Okay, that's strange to hear. I thought it'd be on par with us.
Now, give them another couple of years, they'll start to get there.
Yeah.
But the level of what Johannesburg and Cape Town, that level is exceptionally high.
Yeah, it's proper cricket. Future, UAE, in the cards.
We're looking at a couple of different aspects.
I've been speaking to people as well.
Yeah, we're looking at a couple of different aspects as to where to next. The world is becoming a smaller place. The game of cricket has changed. If you look at franchise cricket around the world, that's certainly taken everything by storm, and I think that's the future now.
Yeah.
Those pathways, that's where we want to feed into. We want to feed into these IPL teams, the SA20 sides, the sides in Dubai, the sides across in the Pakistan Super League, those that sit in the Americas. Those teams, and Saudi now will be coming into the picture as well.
Saudi. Phew.
So when we start feeding players into those systems, then that's where we believe it is. The pathways are so much more open than it was back in the days.
India, UK. India, any chance? That will be big.
So that'll be massive. I think if we feed into the IPL, and we've got a number of players that are playing in the IPL, that would become our cornerstone.
Yeah. Any talks with any IPL sides?
Yes, there are a few. We have discussed with a number of them, and we continue to talk to a number of them. We keep feeding through names which we believe are good. As technology develops, we'll be able to send more and more highlights clips to them. But there are some very positive discussions with quite a few of them.
That's very good news for the youngsters out there.
Yeah, and that's the aim. Today's times, you want to be a franchise cricketer. You want to be plying your trade with the best in the world, and we definitely believe that we can be a pathway to that.
The stepping stone.
Yes.
Another thing I was wondering about, World Cup LPL. How would that be?
Well, we've got to get a couple of more countries in the mix there, but
Yeah,
maybe
we
an
can.
international tour quite soon. I think that would be something that we can look at. Again, Renato, as you've alluded to earlier in this interview, we want to be the best in the world.
Yeah.
Make no bones about that. The quality of what we produce, we want to be the best in the world, and we're not shy to say it. For the kids out there that want to play the
100%.
game, we want to be the best. The product that we want to give you has to be the best in the world, and that's where we believe we'll make our mark.
And personally, I think kit-wise, production-wise, with all our initiatives, we are at the moment. I don't see any tournament as big as this,
We-
except for the major ones.
We got to remain humble, and we got to remember where we sit in the piece, but we got to remain humble. And as long as players, I mean, let's look at Donovan Ferreira, who's done extremely well over the last couple of years. He's
Yeah.
played in the LPL. He's done well there for about 3 years now, or 2.5 years. Got picked up in the SA20, now in the IPL. And that's what you want. That's what you want players going through. Quentin de Kock started off as a 14-year-old within our system. Devin Conway, the gentleman that he is, played for Superman through and through, and went on, and now is one of the best batsmen in the world. And that's, we believe that we're an avenue to helping you get there, because you learn about your game so quickly under pressurized conditions.
Very good player, sure. Even like Connor. Connor's playing for Abu Dhabi Night Riders.
Connor's another player. I don't think he gets enough credit for what he's able to do. Another one that should, in my opinion, have played a lot more professional cricket over the last year. And I think his time will come. I think they've just got to give him the opportunity when he's red hot. You've got to give it to him when he's performing, not waiting and waiting and waiting. The game's changed too quickly for that in the modern era. When a player's hot, give him that opportunity. And I'm glad he got picked up for the Night Riders in Dubai. And he's got a future in this game.
We even got 2 players in the States that come back and play.
Yes.
Just tell the viewers out there.
Yeah, so you got the Tromp boys, so the Knights, who grew up in the Knights environment, in an LPL environment. They moved across to the States. The dad's working there now, but one is playing Major League Cricket, the other is playing minor league cricket, and are both coming back to play in the LPL in a couple of weeks' time. And that's credit to us, I'd say, in a way, but also credit to their commitment and what they believe, the value that the LPL adds to their game. Dane Pitts across in the States as well.
He's also gone.
Yeah, and he's picked up a contract over there. Carmi LaRue's another one in the States that's picked up a major league contract, and so is
Rusty Tehran's there as well.
Savage. All of those have played in our competitions and are now playing their trade in America. America will become a big player in the market.
I think one of the biggest players is going to be America in the next 10 years.
Yeah, I agree with that.
They've got enough money, enough facilities. They'll build their facilities for
Yeah, they will.
So I think we should get into there very soon.
We'll keep trying.
No, we're going to try.
I don't want to give away
my
everything
brother's there,
just yet.
but my brother's there. We can speak to him. My brother stays in Tampa.
Yeah, well, let's
Not
see.
this one. There's the other one.
There's too many brothers. Too many.
No, it's 3 of us. There's 4 brothers on the 4th floor. My brother will know what I'm talking about. What was I going to ask you? Z, future of not of the women's cricket. We don't speak enough of women's cricket. I saw you starting with the CPL women's.
Yeah.
Is it going to come up to Joburg?
Yeah, we're waiting for our next meeting with our directors. We're going to put out a registration for the ladies cricketers in Johannesburg, see where that goes to. It will be based in 2 sections, a senior section and a junior section, so 15 and down and 16 and up. It will all be based on the amount of registrations. I think the ladies game has improved considerably. Again, comes down to key factors, the quality of play and the quality of opportunities that we can create. It will not be on 8 franchises. It will be on 4 franchises in each
like
region.
Div 1, like you're doing a Division 1.
Correct.
And I'd like one of the coaches, lady coaches, to be on the show, or one of the cricketers, the ladies cricketers.
Yeah,
we should have one of them on the show.
Maybe something that you're not familiar with. There's Kayla Reneker girl who's played for the Vikings. She played with the boys for a couple of years. Is now in the Western Province under 19 side and has also played a couple of senior games for Western Province. We know that she will play for South Africa as long as her work ethic continues, and she's one of the main inspirations as to getting this ladies competition up and going.
Yeah, we've got one girl in our side as well. 13 is a very good little girl.
Yeah, some
proper
good
bowler.
players.
She's
Yeah,
a
we've
proper
seen them, and the Cats have a few as well.
Also the other little girl, yeah, it's great. It's great for the
Minky,
for
I
the
mean, if you watch her play, she captains the side. She's
Does she?
exceptionally good, yeah.
Sure. Coached by Kiri, no?
Correct.
Sure. That's very, very good. So Z, one last question. Favorite franchise and why?
Favorite franchise?
Yeah, in Joburg. No, let's talk about the LPL, not the CPL.
That's an interesting question.
Can we bank
Trying to put me on the spot
Yes,
here.
because we know what the answer is going to be.
No, I've got to remain neutral on this one. Obviously,
Come on, Z.
the way you say bank, I played for them for a number of years. I won a few titles with them.
Yeah.
So yes, we'll always have a soft spot for bank, but yeah, it's just natural. I mean, if you look at Zidane and he's gone on in his career to management, he'll always have a soft spot for Real Madrid. I think Bank's changed over the last couple of years, and not used to seeing them not make the last few, but that's the evolution of any good sporting tournament. The Devils have emerged, and the Devils being one of the founding franchises way back when, 14 years ago, to win their first title last year, senior title, was an emotional moment for me. It was a very proud moment for me, and for you as well.
Yeah.
But it took a lot of effort. The Devils have had so many good sides along the years, and small things haven't fallen their way. Losing on the last ball, getting knocked out by net run rate, and then for them to win it in the manner in which they did was a major hurdle to overcome. So yes, each franchise does hold a special place. I played for Bank, hence you'd go towards that particular answer for you. But when we look at it, each franchise has its own sort of personality, and certain people will navigate towards that naturally.
Yeah, I'm going to just say both games we played against Bank, we thumped them by bonus point.
I watched
Just throwing
that.
it out there.
And that's true. But you are the
Both-
champion, so it was meant to happen.
Well, we are the champions, of course we are, yeah. And I used to play for Cats, and I coached Superman, eh?
That's
So
right.
now I'm with the Devils, sure. I've been all over the place.
I think it's time for Superman to start making a challenge as time goes on.
They're very quiet. They don't want to challenge us.
Time will go.
Langy doesn't want to challenge me. He took one of my players to Jeppy, so I've still got a bit of beef with him with that. You know who he is.
we'll wait for that. We'll have a look.
Alvira.
Yeah.
Dizzy, thank you. I
Oh,
think that's
pleasure.
time.
Thank you, Renato.
for being on my show.
No, absolute pleasure, and we look forward. Hopefully, the viewers out there come out and support the guys that will be in competition. The juniors start off on the
we've
5th
got
of May.
Kit handover on 1st of May.
Kit handover on the 1st of May. A lot of preparation that's going into that. The kit looks absolutely stunning. So,
power.
so the next level of LPL is here, and the future is here.
Yeah.
The evolution of the game has happened. Get on the bus.
And viewers, if you want for us to answer any questions, myself or Z, comment below on our social media platforms. We'll definitely answer it during the course of the week.
And yes, I did whack him around the park many years ago.
Z couldn't hit it outside this inner circle. Over and out.